Today we're going to talk about simplifying radicals. If you look at your sheet, radicals are just a fancy name for the square root sign. The second slide doesn't really mean a lot. We're not going to get into that. Okay, so what you need to know is numbers you know the square root of. And I would make this list somewhere, or I would practice it enough that you memorize it. You should know that the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 16 is 4. The square root of 25 is 5. I'm going to keep making this list. You don't need to hear me say all the words. 64 is 8. 81 is 9. 100 is 10. And I would probably stop after that. The chances of you picking a number, I can keep going if you want, but you're not going to use all of them. What do we got here? I'm getting too low. You're gonna see my super cute leggings. 196 is 14. Okay, so here's what you do. When you are doing square roots, so let's say you have the square root of 108, which is on your paper. What you need to do is you need to look for one of these numbers. Fun little marker. You need to think about one of these numbers and say, do I know any of these numbers that multiply to give me 108? And I'm not gonna lie, 108 is not a number I know very well. So I'm gonna start with 108 divided by 4 because it's even. And that works. I know that 108 becomes the square root of 4 times the square root of 27. And I also know that the square root of 4 is 2. So then I get this, 2 square root of 27. But I'm not done, because I also know that 27 is the square root of 9 times the square root of 3. And the square root of 9 is one of the numbers I know. Like this number right here, 4, is on my list, so it comes out of the square root. 9 is on my list, so it comes out of the square root, and you get 3 square root 3. So then you have this hot mess, and here's what you have to do. This number broke down, and this number broke down, and this number cannot simplify anymore. The ones that break down get multiplied back together. So 2 times 3 gives you 6 square root 3. Now, you could have maybe picked a bigger number to begin with, but I don't. Like if you wanted to try 16 or 36, be smart about the numbers you pick. 8 is the last number. 8's not going to go into 9. It's not going to go into a 25. Like, be smart about which numbers you pick. You could have started with a bigger number if you wanted. So let's try another one. Let's try one on your worksheet. Let's try number 1 on your worksheet. Number 1 on your worksheet is the square root of 288. If you want to try a bigger number, we can. I know that it's even, so I would start with 4, but we could start with a different even number. Like, what if we start with 16 instead this time? So if I get my calculator out and I hit 288 divided by 16, ooh, that's nice. I get 16 and 18. So that's going to make my life a little bit easier, less steps. This guy becomes 4. And then I look at 18, and you should, in your brain, think, hey, 18 has a number in common up here. It has a 9. I know that 18 is 9 times 2. And so then the square root of 9 gives me 3. And so then I get 12 square root 2 as my final answer.